Dave Heath was an American photographer, visual thinker and teacher. He was born in 1931 in Philadelphia and he died in Toronto in 2016. The early circumstances of his life had a big impact on himself as a person and also on the type of work that he made. He was born to very young parents, teen parents, and both of them abandoned him by the age of about 4, so his childhood was challenging and it was spent between orphanages and foster care homes. When he was about 15, in one of those orphanages, a previous resident of the orphanage came back and was a filmmaker himself, and he allowed Dave to use his darkroom, and he gave him a camera, and his interest in photography kind of sparked there. He never wanted to be and never acted as a photojournalist, but the photo essay in Life magazine had a huge impact on him. Heath was drafted in 1952 into the army and was sent as a machine gunner to Korea. And he spent 2 years there, 6 months of which there was a ceasefire for, so there was a lot of waiting around. He made some of these very important early pictures that we're quite privileged to have in this show. And a lot of the themes of his later work, absorption, loneliness, kind of inward reflection, are very present in these really quite powerful portraits of his friends, his fellow soldiers. In his early career, Heath made a number of small maquettes or prototype books, developing his thinking on sequencing and layout and how his pictures worked on the page. They also brought in an awful lot of quotes, little epigraphs from a wide range of literary sources. He was a voracious reader. He was primarily self-taught. He did do 2 semesters at art school and a couple of classes at the Design Institute of Chicago. Those kind of working maquettes were the way that he was developing as a photographer, but also almost as a kind of a designer. When he came back from Korea, he worked as a studio photographer in Chicago and Philadelphia. In 1957, he moved to New York. It was a conscious decision on his part to end his creative isolation. He made strong friendships in New York with a lot of people who were heavily involved in photography. He had an early exhibition, an early solo show at the Seven Arts Coffee House, which included some of the Korean photographs. He was able in that time also to build up some proposals and apply for Guggenheim fellowships. He got 2 subsequent fellowships. They were very prestigious, so it was important to him, and it allowed him the time and space to make a journey across America and make more work, but also to spend a lot of time editing and carefully sequencing his kind of publishing masterwork, in a way, a dialogue with solitude. He did have a number of retrospectives before he died. He was very well appreciated in Canada, where he moved in 1970 and spent a quarter of a century teaching at Ryerson. There was a retrospective there. There was also, quite wonderfully, there was a retrospective just a short few years before he died at his home museum in Philadelphia. So included in this exhibition, we have a number of prints from the Korean work, and we have a number of sequences and works from his kind of wider street photography. The show, I should say, comes from our colleagues in Le Bal in Paris. It's an exhibition that was generated there, and the curator there, Diane Dufour, has chosen to put Heath's work in conversation with 3 film pieces from kind of important 1960s cinema verite. So we have a film called Salesman, a film called A Savage Eye, and a film called Portrait of Jason. And they are connected with his work in the sense that they tell of America at that time, and they are each kind of variations on the theme of solitude.